The story of County Laois echoes through the streets of its many historic towns. Their origins and development reflect a diversity of influences, from towns born out of warfare and colonisation, like Portlaois, to elegant planned estate towns like Abbeyleix and Durrow, that reflected the glory of the great houses of the county. Durrow developed as a medieval borough. By the 18th century, the Flower family had risen to prominence. Castle Durrow is their magnificent legacy. Durrow prospered in the 19th century as it became a key stopping place for stagecoaches travelling from Dublin. The story of Durrow is kept alive by the community.
Well, the bar is here for 300 years. It was next to the river, of course, and there was a little bit of industry here, and there was a brewery. So Durrow was dotted down here, a few thatched houses, and this was the inn.
In the later Middle Ages, as England's grip tightened on Ireland, a series of powerful forts were established to subdue the fierce tribes of Laois. The most powerful was Fort Protector. It became known as Campa, or the Fort of Leix. Sheltered by its mighty walls, English settlers began to develop the town of Maryborough, now known as Portlaois. General Francis Cosby was a commander of Fort Protector during the 16th century. He engaged in a bloody conflict with the ferocious Gaelic O'Moore clan. His descendant, Adrian Cosby, takes up the tale.
It seems the family settled there. At what date, I don't entirely know. I mean, they were given it in 1563, but they're certainly there in the 1570s, until the O'Moores then challenged them in 1596.
It took the Cosbys a century to consolidate their position in Stradbally, and in the early 1700s, a new planned town emerged. Port Arlington was founded by Lord Arlington. In the 1690s, the lands around Port Arlington were given to Henri Massou, a French Huguenot who was exiled in Ireland. He offered Port Arlington as a refuge to other Huguenots who sought to flee persecution. One of these was the flamboyant Madame de Champagne.
It had become so very bad. My children and I had to flee. We hid ourselves in empty wine casks. Well, I have always been considered a good vintage. We were loaded onto a ship bound for England. All was going well until we hit a storm in the Bay of Biscay. We were tossed and rolled dreadfully. No matter though, we arrived safe in the end.
By 1702, 500 Huguenots lived in Port Arlington. Through its new inhabitants, Port Arlington became known as the Paris of the Midlands, where the French language was spoken up to the 19th century. Abbeyleix was founded on the banks of the River Nore, alongside a medieval Cistercian monastery. With the arrival of the de Vesey family, the town moved location and changed from a haphazard sprawl in the shadow of the abbey to a neat and orderly, planned town.
They really came to Abbeyleix in the early years of the 18th century, so 1710, around that time, due to the father-in-law of one of my family had land interests in this area. But clearly the fact that they put roots down here and stayed so long showed they also had a great affinity to the place, and they just liked it here.
The de Veseys were deeply rooted in Abbeyleix and strove to develop a town that would benefit both inhabitants as well as themselves.
Throughout the years, the de Vesey family were known as improving landlords, and of fundamental importance is the fact that they were never absentees. They always lived here. And so they were very interested in improving what was around them. Commercially, it was good for them, but it was also very good for the community.
The family became well known for their benevolence and charity, particularly during the Great Famine.
Fortunately, my family were in a position where they could just say, look, let's everybody concentrate on trying to survive, with limited success because the toll was appalling everywhere. But yes, there was that relationship that rents were forgiven during the famine. and people were not evicted. I don't think that's forgotten. I think you can see that in the monuments in the town.
Industry in Abbeyleix prospered under the De Vesey's, with textiles and carpets from the town adorning many grand houses. Even the doomed luxury liner, the Titanic, was fitted with carpets made here in Abbeyleix. The De Vesey's also put a strong emphasis on education.
John II Viscount, who was a very notable improving landlord, felt very strongly about the importance of education and was very interested in it to a really extraordinary degree at that stage. A huge number of different schools were set up around Abbeyleix, and you can still see the remnants of them and the traces of them in Abbeyleix.
One place linked to this educational heritage, and where you can learn more about Abbeyleix, is Heritage House.
This building was once a school. It was one of the 14 schools that were used by the population of Abbeyleix over the last 200 years. Today the building is a heritage centre that includes a model railway, so we cover the whole history of Abbeyleix from Bronze Age right up to the 20th century.
Abbeyleix is a vibrant town that still retains its historic character.
It's a wonderful place to live, and one of the reasons it's so wonderful is it has such a strong community and such a proactive community.
The historic towns of Laois are another chapter in the story of Ireland's ancient East, where you can explore off the beaten track to gain a sense of the true character of Ireland.
Come off the motorway and come into the heart of Ireland. Come into Durrow, come into little villages, come in and get the real sense of Ireland.